Beware of the Pharisees and Sadducees by Daniel Scott Batten. It is always wise to approach God in humility. In doing so, we must recognize that both his words and the words of his prophets carry the power to comfort and to correct. By his nature, God's dealings with humanity are corrective lessons fashioned for our reform. When we read of the wrath of God, whether directed at unrepentant individuals, rebellious kingdoms, or even anointed kings, it is not merely historical judgment, but a divine call to reflect. The evils that brought their downfall, the impurities, idolatries, and sins, are not relics of the past. They dwell within us too. And just as the judgments are shared for our warning, so are the blessings. Every promise Christ makes, every vision the prophets declare, is meant not only for those ancient ears, but for us to hear, to heed, and to be reconciled. We may sit in judgment of the Pharisees and Sadducees, but woven into their disbelief and corrupt intent is a mirror for all of Christendom. Every Christian, in some way, transgresses the laws of God. Every saint, however devout, is tempted by self-righteous visions of divine will. Even Peter, beloved by Christ, abandoned his master in the Saviour's darkest hour. Yet Peter's failure is not a condemnation of his faith, but a sacred unveiling, a lesson from God laid bare to reveal the fragile truth of our own hearts. When Christ speaks of not judging others, it is wise to understand it through this lens, that whatever sin we perceive in someone else, be it a political leader, a friend, an enemy, or even a fellow believer, we must first examine whether we are projecting our own failures upon them. Judgment without reflection becomes a smokescreen for unresolved transgression. To confront another without first confronting ourselves is to risk becoming the very thing we denounce. Explanatory notes. 1. On approaching God in humility. James 4:10. Humble yourselves before the Lord and he will lift you up. Micah 6:8. What does the Lord require of you? To act justly and to love mercy and to walk humbly with your God. 1 Peter 5:6. Humble yourselves, therefore, under God's mighty hand, that he may lift you up in due time. 2. On God's corrective nature and wrath. Hebrews 12:6. Because the Lord disciplines the one he loves, and he chastens everyone he accepts as his son. Romans 1:18. The wrath of God is being revealed from heaven against all the godlessness and wickedness of people. Psalm 7:11. God is a righteous judge, a God who displays his wrath every day. 3rd. On the sins of past generations dwelling in us. Romans 3:23. For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. 1 Corinthians 10:11. These things happened to them as examples and were written down as warnings for us. Galatians 6:7. Do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows. 4. On the Pharisees and Sadducees as mirrors of our own hearts. Matthew 23:27-28. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You are like whitewashed tombs. Luke 12:1. Be on your guard against the yeast of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. Matthew 5:20. Unless your righteousness surpasses that of the Pharisees, you will certainly not enter the kingdom of heaven. 5. On Peter's denial and God's use of failure. Matthew 26:69-75. Peter denies Jesus 3 times before the rooster crows. Luke 22:31-32. I have prayed for you, Simon, that your faith may not fail. And when you have turned back, strengthen your brothers. John 21:15-17. Christ restores Peter. Feed my sheep. 6. On judging others and self-reflection. Matthew 7:1-5. Do not judge, or you too will be judged. First take the plank out of your own eye. Romans 2:1. You therefore have no excuse, you who pass judgment on someone else. Luke 6:37. Do not judge, and you will not be judged. Do not condemn, and you will not be condemned.